Hey Matty, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going, brother? Can you see me, hear me all right?
I got you all in frame, looking great, sounding great, good to
Cool.
go. How you been?
Doing good, man. How are you doing?
Can't complain. Summer here in Australia, festival season wrapping up. We're all good.
There we go. I love it, man. What time is it there for you?
It's only 7 a.m.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and that time is irrelevant when you're a dad.
hmm
That's clocks lie.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So it's going to be 10 years by the time you guys come back and see us next year.
10
How
years.
excited!
Yeah, man, we're very excited. It's been far too long, and I think this is probably going to be just the beginning of us coming back more a lot frequently. I hope at least.
Yeah, cool. And you're out with Atreyu. So what kind of history do you have with those guys?
Well, we've done a lot of touring with them, and we've actually done a co-headliner in the States as well. So we thought about bringing it over there, and it made a lot of sense. The dynamic between our two bands seems to work really well in a live setting, and we also just love them as people. So it's
Yeah.
good.
Do you think that's important when you're touring, especially now, because a lot of your money is made on touring, um, to make sure the package is right and it sort of goes beyond talent in bands and it goes on the human relationship between the bands to make a tour work? Do you think that's a priority?
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes it can be hard to tell what the right package is going to be. Everything's changing pretty rapidly, but I would say as far as the dynamic of like inside the tour and how the bands work together and operate, that's always vital. And once you get to a point where you can be a little bit more picky about what tours you do, you find yourself picking certain bands to go on tour with.
Yeah. Now, speaking of tour, I asked this to a lot of people I talk to. So I need you to tell me the most important thing for you to have on your bus and the most important thing for you to have on your rider.
Ooh, the most important thing to have on my bus would be Wildberry Skittles.
Okay, yeah.
And the most important thing, well, let's put that on the rider. Wildberry Skittles on the rider. And then the most important thing to have on the bus would be my clothing steamer because it is impossible to put everything on a bus and have it not get all wrinkly and stuff. So yeah, Wildberry Skittles and a clothing steamer. We're gonna go with those.
Nice. Does Memphis May Fire have particular bus rules?
Oh yeah, for sure.
What?
Yeah, we're a really clean band. Um, between the four of us, no one is messy at all. So when it comes to crew members, anybody that's working for us really or riding the bus or whatever, we're very particular about, when you put that many people in a small space, it can feel claustrophobic. And I think one of the best ways to avoid that kind of like cabin fever feeling is just keeping something really tidy and neat.
Yeah,
And so we're really particular about that.
nice. Now, new album is going to be out next year, March 28th, Shapeshifter.
Yeah.
How long has this been in the works for?
A couple years, I guess. We've been, Kellen probably started writing instrumentally, around the time that Remade in Misery came out. So yeah, it's been a couple years, and I would say that's standard. We're usually working on a record for that long.
Sure. And is there particular subject matters that you're tackling on this album that you think are important?
I would say the overarching theme is just the importance of authenticity, and that's me talking to myself and wanting to be as authentic as possible while being as fearless as possible to say here is all of my garbage, here's all my downfalls, um And even with that, I still believe that I am a lovable person, a worthy person. And I think that that's the trade-off is some people feel like they can't be open about everything that they're dealing with in every aspect of who they are, without that maybe causing them to lose some sort of value. And I think that that has to change, and I really want people to find solace in these songs to feel like somebody can relate to what it is they're going through and hopefully give them the courage to take off whatever mask they might be wearing.
Nice. And also, straight after the album release, you go out on a tour. Um, a lot of bands are hesitant to break out new songs straight away on tour. They bring them in a little bit over time. Do you see you guys road testing a couple of tracks straight away?
Um, by that time, the majority of the record will already have been out as singles.
Yeah.
So we're not too concerned about that. That would be another benefit to how we've been releasing music, is kind of slowly trickling it out rather than putting out a whole body of work at once. By the time we actually go on an album tour, people have had the opportunity to digest songs.
Perfect. Is there one from the album that is just on your priority list that when the next band meeting comes up and set list to discuss, you're just flying the flag for that one song?
Yeah. There's a song on the new record called The Other Side, that is really special to me. Um, it might be one that some people don't think is worth the real estate in the set just because it's not necessarily the heaviest song that we've ever written, right?
Yeah.
And Shapeshifter is by far the heaviest song we've ever written. But yeah, I mean that one feels goosebumpy to me, and I would love to bring that into a live setting. So we'll see, but hopefully.
Do you think that's important for breathing room to be in a set, like where you don't just have everything heavy?
Yeah, and I mean we're not an entirely heavy band, so regardless of how we were to piece things together, we wouldn't necessarily end up with a set that's just balls to the wall, start to finish.
Yeah.
And we have some of our bigger songs like Miles Away and stuff like that, are good little ballad breaks in the set. But yeah, for sure. I think a well-rounded set is important. When it comes to playing one that's not as full send and it's also a new song,
Yeah.
can be a little bit tricky, but we'll see.
Awesome. Now, a quick look on your Facebook page. You have some really awesome meet and greet packages.
Hmm.
There's some great tiers and things, and there's really great value in there for the fans. What's
Yeah,
the craziest thing you have signed so far being in this band?
a tooth inside someone's mouth.
Right. That had to be in a small pen too.
Yeah, yeah, just it was more of an initial than a signature, but yeah, someone just smiled and I signed their tooth. So that would be it.
Wow. I've heard of prosthetic limbs, of course, body parts, but not a tooth as a body part. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, it was strange. Um,
Now, Memphis May Fire now has a hot sauce out.
yeah,
How involved in the process with the band?
very. And that, I don't know how it works for other bands that do, like edible merch. You know
Yep.
what I mean? But like, for me, I'm a big foodie and, like I've gotten heavily into barbecue and I just, so much of traveling and tour for me is trying different food from all over the place and everything. So I wasn't going to put our name on something until it was really great and really special, like we spent that whole idea has been in the works for a couple years or longer.
Mhm.
And we've gone through a ton of revisions. I would say that it's probably spicier than what the general public would prefer, but that's how I like hot sauce. So we just, like I really wanted it to be something that I could say, like, I love this. And when we've got 10 bottles on the bus, an array of different hot sauces, everyone's reaching for the Memphis May Fire sauce. That's kind of the goal. And it really is great. It turned out awesome.
That's excellent. Do you think there's going to be a way that you'll have some down here? for the tour?
It just depends. I know that we've already run into some issues because it's a glass bottle.
Mhm.
And so I know some venues are pretty strict about not allowing glass bottles. And then also like, a 23-hour flight to Australia, glass
Yeah.
gets a little risky as
Yeah.
well. But potentially, I mean, we might even be able to have some kind of like, shipped in, or I don't know. We'll see.
I've got to say that the thing with the glass bottles in venues, I understand it, but I see them now with these reusable metal bottles. Now, I'm sure a metal bottle can do just as much damage to someone as a glass bottle. I'm just putting it out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I don't we've never tried to sell a glass product before, so we've never run into this. And in hindsight, might have done plastic, but at the same time, like glass, a classic glass hot sauce bottle is hard to beat. So
As a foodie, glass retains the flavor. Plastic takes
yeah.
on flavor.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
100%.
There you go. Now, the band is traditionally classed as a Dallas band, but you're from
Mhm.
Seattle. Now, how have you personally seen your music scene changed in your town over the last sort of 5 years?
So all four of us live in Nashville now.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm originally from, Washington State. Kellen's from Texas. Jake is from Florida, and Corey's from Tennessee. So in the last 5 years, the music scene that I would be observing would be Nashville
Yep.
specifically. Um, and I would say the pandemic definitely caused an eruption of, post pandemic, just an eruption of live music. And it seems like there's never a day that goes by that something's not happening downtown. So I would say, everybody bounced back really well, and it's thriving. And obviously where I live, country music is king. So you see that just going nuts down on Broadway for sure. But yeah, I mean, even some of the heavier shows that I've been to, it seems like the crowds are in support in a whole new way. I think that the mindset of wondering if touring and live music was ever going to come back really gave people a new appreciation for live music. So it's cool to see.
Awesome. Now, it's the end of the year. Everyone gets their Spotify rap numbers and how many streams, how many this. While it's great to see that on the screen, what does that mean for Memphis May Fire in terms of business?
It's definitely super cool to be streaming the highest we ever have 16 years into our career. Um, And yeah, I mean, stream numbers are correlated with all different types of success and levels of what you can accomplish and what you're capable of at a current level. And so it's definitely super important. And, one thing that some people might not think of, but it is very true at this point, is that, to have success at radio these days, you have to already be having success streaming. And, stations pay a lot of attention to how a band is streaming before they even consider putting a song into rotation. So I would say, yeah, it's vital. It's really important.
Cool. Um, but you have satellite radio there. So one thing Australia is desperately needing. So with all the satellite radio and different kinds of way people can digest music, what do you see as being like the future for Memphis Mayfire and how they get their music out to people? Is it TikTok? Is it satellite radio? Is it YouTube? Where do you see the important sort of tunnel for you?
It's definitely all the above. There's not a specific platform that's not important. I would just say, with how rapidly music is consumed and then forgotten about, for us at least, we were at the forefront of that decision making process. Like, are we going to put emphasis on an album, or are we going to put emphasis on singles? And we went the single route, and we will probably continue to do that forever. It's so much more, like, obviously our age and older are so used to having like bought CD-ROMs and like been listening all the way through and things like that. But these days, how music is being consumed by the younger generation, and obviously how our generation is adapting to that, is through playlisting and just streaming services. So I would say, all platforms are important, but how we roll out and at what speed we roll out music, I think, is really what it makes a huge difference.
Awesome, man. So you're here mid next year. What do you want to let everyone know about yourself, Memphis May Fire, the music, the tour? Give us everything before I let you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's been 10 years since we've been back. I would say we're 10 times the band that we were last time we were there. I'm really excited to give y'all a show. We can't wait to come back and just see Australia. We're very excited, and we hope to see all of you at a show. And if not, maybe at like a zoo or something like that, because we'll be trying to do it all.
Awesome, man. Matty, thanks for your time. We will see you next year.
Yeah, thanks for having me. See ya.
No worries. Thanks, man. Bye.